Hey, welcome back everyone. It is time for another red hot cover call video. Well, hey, look, today we're going to talk about buying deep in the money call options. Now, these deep in the money call options are very popular because you're buying the right but not the obligation to take somebody's shares at a strike price for which you pick. You pick the time frame, and of course you have to pay the difference between the strike price you'll buy somebody's shares at and of course where the stock's trading. So I'm going to break this down as to what deep in the money call option you want to be purchasing. But moving forward, we're calling deep in the money call options leaps call options. This is what they commonly refer to them as, leaps call options. It's just a long dated call. There's some guy out there that wrote a covered call on his shares and he said, look, I'll pick the expiration date of 6 months or a year out. I'll go ahead and give my shares away at a strike price, at a price that he wants, that's deep in the money. I'll give you an example. Say a stock's trading for 100. This person who owns the shares, he will give somebody the right but not the obligation. He would write a covered call at 50. And then what he's hoping to do is pick up the difference between 50 and 100 where the stock is trading, plus some time value premium. That would be his profit. Now, he also owns the shares, so if there's any dividends, he collects those as well. But because he's doing a deep in the money covered call, chances are his shares will be taken away unless the stock falls from where it's trading at 100 all the way down below 50. So we're talking deep in the money call options, but we're going to call them leaps call options because that's what you're purchasing in this video. Because a lot of people on YouTube are talking about buying deep in the money call options in lieu of buying the shares. Now, the reason for this is simple. You don't have to put up so much capital on the front side, and you can reap the gain of a stock going higher. You can almost pay just a third of the price. And of course, if you want to take that entire amount of money that you would have invested in the shares, well, of course, you can triple your returns. That's what they talk about in all these videos. You can triple your returns. And that's the reason why. Because if I were to buy a stock for $100, I don't have to pony up $100 a share. But if I buy a deep in the money call option or a leaps call option, let's say the 25 strike, well, now I'm only paying the difference between 25 and 100. That would be $75 a share. Now, I'm buying the right, but not the obligation to take his shares at 25. So really what you're doing when you buy a deep in the money call option or a leaps call option, you're just buying the right to take somebody's shares at a price. So what we want to do is talk about that today. I'm going to show you an example of one that I actually did. When AMD was trading down, I sold and took a loss. I took a taxed harvesting loss for that year. Man, I was down from 186. It had fallen all the way down to about 110. I went ahead and sold the shares outright. I took a loss for the year, but then I bought the deep in the money call option, but only spent a fraction of the money. This is what they'll tell you on YouTube. This guy right here, he does these videos all the time. Now, I'm not criticizing him in this video. He probably knows more about options than I do, but I'll tell you this. What I know, I know. I'm going to show you the leaps call option that I would purchase versus the one he's going to have you purchase. And I'm going to tell you exactly why the leaps call option that I'm going to have you buy is less expensive than his. His is going to be cheaper, but more expensive. Mine's going to cost more, but it's less expensive. I'm telling you what, if you don't understand that right there, I don't even know if you should be buying deep in the money call options. But I'm going to straighten it out for you right here, right now. Hey, look, what I want you to do is this. If you like anything you hear today, I absolutely want you to subscribe to the channel. I try to come back every week, show you timely and relevant covered call and cash secure put trades. Hey, look, if you like this video today, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. Now, what I'm doing is talking about that deep in the money call option. Everybody's saying buy deep in the money call options in lieu of the shares. You triple your money. You spend less capital. Life is beautiful. Well, what I'm going to show you here is that you can absolutely get screwed. And we're going to talk about that because the leaps call option or deep in the money call option, he is going to suggest that you buy the 90 Delta Leap. Let's go ahead and look at this real quick. If you're going to buy a deep in the money call option, you have to understand deltas. If you don't understand deltas, you need to educate yourself on deltas. Just this idea of you going out and buying a Leaps call option, that isn't going to work. You got to buy the delta, because what happens is most people on YouTube, and this is a fact, they will tell you to buy the 70 and 80 delta just so you don't have to spend that much money. Right? You don't want to spend that much money up front, and you get all the gains of becoming rich because the stock goes higher and you bought an option instead of the actual shares, saving maybe some 75%. Well, here's the deal. You are going to pay that covered call buyer a premium. That premium is his profit. So the Leaps call option that you purchase makes all the difference in the world. It has everything to do with the delta. Now, we're going to talk DPST because I'm doing a poor man's covered call on DPST where I buy a deep in the money call option. And then what I do is I write near-term covered calls against that to generate income, generate cash flow. If you want to learn this strategy, in the description below, I got a 1 free month offer for you. I've made over $72,000 this year using a deep in the money call option where I don't pay that much money up front in capital, and then I write near-term covered calls as if I own the shares outright. That's what I do. I mastered this. We now have 2 trades on, one of them $112,000. I own 20 contracts of DPST, controlling 2,000 shares. DPST is a $100 stock just a few weeks ago. It has fallen. But you know what? When you're a member, I teach you that we don't worry about near-term fluctuations. In the description below, get your 1 free month offer to my membership. If you want to learn this, you learn from the best. Now, when you go out and buy your deep in the money call option, you need to understand the delta. Remember I mentioned if you don't know the delta, then you can't even be touching these things. That's number one. That's number one. Because here's the deal. The guy in the video, he's going to tell you to buy that deep in the money call option. Because what he's going to tell you is when the stock falls, you don't lose as much money as the person who owns the actual shares. And he's exactly right. Because the delta of the deep in the money call option he's going to have you buy is a 90 Delta Leap. Now, let's talk about this delta real quick, because this is the key to all of this. Because remember what I said earlier? In his example, you're going to pay less, but the deep in the money call option is more expensive. Do you get the difference? You pay less, but it's more expensive, because the one I'm going to tell you to buy, you pay more, but it's less expensive. Be ready for that comparison. It's coming right now. Understand that delta is everything. Okay? Don't get caught up in this idea that you can make all this glorious money using a fraction of the capital it would take to buy the shares. Here's the delta. The delta has essentially 2 meanings, but the one that's the most important is for a 1-to-1 move in the stock price, your deep in the money call options delta determines how much money it moves. So in the case of the 89 Delta Leap, you see right there, the 89 Delta Leap, when the stock moves $1 up, your deep in the money call option moves 89 cents of that move. Now, if the stock falls $1, your deep in the money call option falls only 89 cents. So this is where people on YouTube can say that if the stock goes higher, that's wonderful, it's great, you make all that money. But then they say, you don't lose as much. And that's why. Because the delta of the deep in the money call option dictates how much it moves. So we all get that, right? If you buy a stock for $100, it moves up $1, it moves up $1, right? Well, if you bought the deep in the money call option instead of the shares, that 89 Delta Leap, your deep in the money call option only moves 89 cents. Now, let's get back to this example. The deep in the money call option is great. If you're bullish, man, you want to spend less money, you go buy a 6 month to 1 year deep in the money call option. Now, in the example to the left is what the YouTuber talked about. Right now, DPST is trading for $78.77. Now, this is a 90-day expiration because I usually buy my leaps about 90 to 100 days out. But it's still the same here. Whether it's 90 days, 120 days, 365 days, it's all the same. You're going to pay the call seller some money. And in fact, the one thing they don't tell you in those videos is the more time you give the call seller, the more you're going to have to pay. The more you're going to have to pay. Now you say to yourself, John, what are you talking about, man? I know nothing about this price you're going to have to pay. So let's get into it. Remember, there's a guy on the other side of this trade. He actually owns the shares. He writes a covered call. He wants to give them away at $50. He bought them for $100. He wants to give them away for $50. He writes a covered call with the expiration date being 1 year away. He puts it on the market. Now, you watch a video on YouTube and you want to buy that $50 strike from that guy. Okay, so you're going to buy the right, but not the obligation to take his shares away from him at $50. Well, there's $50 of intrinsic value from $50 to $100, right? Then you're going to pay that guy time value premium. That's his profit. See, the guy don't make any profit from 50 to 100. That's intrinsic value. He bought him for 100. He's giving them away to you for 50. So he's losing $50. So you got to pay him the $50. It's that time value premium that you pay him. This is that part where it's more expensive, less expensive. 90 delta leap. You're going to pay less money up front. And that is the carrot, man. That is the tease. But you're going to pay more money to the call buyer. That's what makes that trade more expensive. So taking a look right in front of you to the left, DPST trading for $78.77. If we buy the 45 deep in the money call option. Hey, by the way, that's the highest delta you can get. He says to get a 90. This would be 89 is the close I can get. Okay, 89 delta leap. Take a look at the time value portion. You're going to be paying the call seller. Remember that cover call writer? Well, you're paying him $3.08 for the right to buy his shares. That's $3.08 you're literally giving him. Now, I'm going to tell you how that becomes very expensive here in a moment. Look at the example on the right. Same time frame, different strike price. See, on the right is what I'm going to tell you to buy because we get more value with the one on the right. The one on the left, he's telling you to pay this guy 3.91%. You better hope that stock goes higher. On the right, we can manage the trade. I'm going to show you the AMD trade here in a minute. Stick with me. On the right is the one you want to buy. You want to buy the highest delta you could possibly buy. Hell, even if you can go one for one, they actually have deltas of 1. If you can buy it, you do it because you want to simulate a true stock move. Remember what I told you earlier on in the video. If you buy a deep in the money call option, your delta will be the dollar amount that this deep in the money call option moves based on a 1-for-1 move. So if you're buying the 89 delta leap, then you're getting 89 cents for every $1 move higher. Now again, that's great if you don't want to spend much money. That's fabulous. But again, if the stock falls, you lose less. Right? Moves down $1, yours only moves down 89 cents. This is the selling point to buy this 90 delta leap. But again, you're paying this guy $3.08. Again, you better hope this goes higher because what happens is this. As we're getting close to that expiration, if the stock magically stayed zero at the end of the expiration, the time value will erode to nothing. So that means the value of this trade for which, remember, you're buying the 45 strike, you're paying $36.85. If this trade ends magically where the stock has done nothing, your deep in the money call option when you go to sell it is worth $36.85 minus the time value portion. And that would be $3.08. This is why you can get crushed here. And I'm going to tell you why you can get crushed. Because as the stock falls, the time value portion crushes. You get time value premium being crushed. So now what's happening is your deep in the money call option is losing based on the delta But that time value portion, that $3.08, it's starting to erode as well. So now you're losing more than what you think you are. Again, stay away from the 90 Delta Leap. I really don't even know. Only unless that's the only choice you have. I mean, look, really what you're doing is you want to mimic a stock move. You want to simulate a mimic of the stock move. So why in the hell would you buy something that's 90% of a $1? I'll tell you why. Because they want to sell you on the fact that it's cheaper. See how I only spend $3,685 on the left versus $5,900 on the right? What you want to do is buy the one on the right. Why? It's 0.9956. This is damn near a 1-for-1 move, meaning the deep in the money call option that I buy on the right, which I do all the time, as the stock moves $1, this moves 99 cents of that. And by the way, look at the time value portion over there. This is where the one on the left is expensive, the one on the right is inexpensive. Got to be smart, man. Every single penny is profit and loss. I only spend 0.55 to control this guy's shares for the time frame. That's 43 cents versus $3.08 or 3.94% on your deep in the money call option. Hey, it might be cheaper, but it's more expensive. Now, the one that I'm going to buy is that 20 deep in the money call. I'm only going to pay 43 cents. That's beautiful. A $1 move. My deep in the money call option is moving 99 cents. We pay $5,900 instead of the $7,800 with DPST. I'll tell you what, the poor man's covered call does allow you to triple your returns because in the end, he is right. You can pick stocks, and I think he talked about Cisco in this video, where you can actually buy 3 times the shares if you bought that 90 Delta Leap. And hey, I get it. You better be bullish because if Cisco does not go higher, you're in trouble. I had this example with Sands, Las Vegas Sands. I did the same thing, man. 90 Delta Leap. I quadrupled down on that pig, ended up losing 20 grand. Because what happens is that time value portion literally is an anchor around your neck. And if this thing does not go higher, that time value portion squeezes out of it. You get to expiration, you're going to have to roll it. And when you roll it, you got new time value premium. You're paying the new call seller. Better understand options. You're going to get ripped. Now let's take a look at my AMD trade and then we'll get out of here. Again, it's all about the delta. It's all about the delta. 90, I want to see you at 95 and above. We want more of a 1-for-1 move. I'll take 95. Hey, I'll take 95. That's only a nickel off. Now, here it was. I was in AMD up here at 186. Thing tanks. Now, what I need to do is this. I'm either going to hold this until it comes back and hope and pray. That's really what this is. As this falls literally down to $80, this is a hope and pray trade, okay? Because AMD is a dog, and if they didn't strike this incredible deal, this thing would be waffling right around here. It is the best stock compared to Intel. It's not the second best stock to NVIDIA. So I have my own opinions of AMD. AMD catches an incredible break here. But with that said, hey, when this thing is selling off to 80, what I do is I sell my shares and I get the taxed harvest credit for this year. Okay? Say that was $60,000. I'm going to write that off. Now, I cannot buy the shares within 30 days or 31 days or else this is gone. What I do is I buy that deep in the money call option right there. And that's what I did. I think it was when it was trading for 80, I think I bought the 30. And that equaled a delta, unbelievable, of 99.98. That's basically a 1-for-1 move. And sure enough, I just let it sit there. I didn't think of nothing. And as AMD is treading water and doing nothing, it slowly starts to move higher. And I'm getting that 1-for-1 move. We bought that 99 Delta Leap in the money call option, that being your delta. That is what you need to focus on. So if you're going to buy the deep in the money call option, hey, that's totally fine, totally cool. I get it, but I need you to understand what the delta means and buy your deep in the money call options accordingly, and also want you to learn how to roll them. Because remember, this has an expiration date. You're going to have to buy this guy's shares, or you're going to have to sell your deep in the money call option. You can't just hold this forever. Okay, you're going to have a time frame. You're either going to have to roll it and buy another one, or sell out completely, hopefully for a profit. Hey, look, in the description below, I teach people how to use deep in the money call options to generate cash flow, right in covered calls. I'll tell you what, it's profitable. I've made $75,000 in 2025. I absolutely love it. There are perfect times to get involved with a poor man's covered call versus buying the shares. And I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it with DPST and BITX, BitX, the 2X leverage ETF to Bitcoin. Hey, look, in the description below, get your 1 free month offer. Would love to welcome you aboard. Hey, look, be safe, be healthy, most important, be lucky. Until next time, may all your covered calls be profitable.